I've actually kind of thought of my food truck in different ways. Like, I'm okay with questioning my journey, like wondering if this is like the right move for me.
That was Jai of Devoured Pop-Up. And it's your boy, Idriff, and you're listening to the What's Good Dough podcast. Whether it's pizza, business, or life, my guests and I are always talking about ways we can level up. Today, you're going to hear from Jai, who is the graphic designer turned pizza maker. So yeah, we dive in a little bit about how you can improve your branding on your social media and how you can implement those tips into your pizzeria or any business that you do. We also talk about the 3 Ps: patience, people, and pizza. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about Jai's community and the people that support her. We're also going to talk about patience and the growth that Jai is experiencing. And of course, we're going to talk pizza. Jai operates a pop-up. She pops up over at the farmer's market, and she also just recently bought a mobile truck. So we're going to talk about those things. This is an amazing episode, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And remember to always ask, what's good, dough? What's up, everybody? I am joined today by an amazing guest. This is part 2. I am super lucky to have Jai with me today, owner of Devoured Pop-Up in Kansas City, Missouri. I wanted to get that right this time because the first time I messed it up. Jai, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Excellent. Thank you.
I heard you are pizza dad, so congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to talk to you again. There is, as you know, one way that I like to start the show. There's no right or wrong answer. What's good, dough?
What's good, though? Early mornings is what's good nowadays, and also just good, tasty pizza. So that's all I'd have to say about that one.
Mm. We were talking, prior to recording for just like a minute, and you were talking to me about like getting ready and set up for the farmer's market at 5 a.m. What's up with that?
Yeah, so I have the opportunity to have Devoured in the farmers market, one of our farmers markets, in Overland Park, and it's outside of Kansas City. But yeah, it's been wonderful. It's been super fulfilling, but it's so early. I know people that get up actually earlier than me because they have to drive like maybe 45 minutes. They're getting up at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, I I don't know how you do it. Like, there's no way. And I'm a night owl. So, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. I'm not gonna lie. It just comes with the territory. You gotta adjust and get used to it, but it's definitely a learning curve, let's say that.
Yeah, well said. It comes with the territory. I think bread bakers, typically they wake up hella early too.
Yeah.
I guess my question for you is it worth it? Because if I'm thinking about it, going to a farmer's market, people do get hungry, but are they craving pizza in the morning that early?
You would be surprised. It is
Oh,
definitely worth it. I now have 2 breakfast pizzas that I roll out, and and so we have our breakfast pizzas. I do like a set amount of dough for that because I do it at a smaller quantity. I do it like half the size of a 12-inch pie, so it's like maybe like 7 inches, and it's shareable, or you can have it yourself. But a lot of people come through. Like, I was pretty surprised. We open at 7:30. We go until 1 p.m. And I mean, every farmer's market that I've had, this has been the 4th week, and we've sold out every single time. So it's been incredible. I think it's worth it. I mean, I'll just have to get used to the 5 a.m. It's one Saturday out of my week, and they're actually going to add on Wednesdays as well soon. But yeah, it's worth it on a Saturday. I mean, we've had a count of about 14,000 people that come out to that farmers market. So
ooh,
yeah, they said that this is doubled this year, and I think it might have a lot to do with everyone kind of coming outside slowly.
yeah,
COVID walls are kind of trickling away, but yeah, it's been insane.
that's tight.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I ask you, How many are you selling out of, and how much is the
Yeah.
cost of a 7-inch pizza? I don't really see that size anywhere.
Yeah, so we are bringing about, I'd say, a little bit over 100 pies to the farmers market, and during breakfast, I'd say I do about 40 of those pies are breakfast, and I still probably need to bring a little bit more because we're ending around 9:30. I really want to get to maybe breakfast until like 10ish. Get those late skis some pies too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're doing a 7-inch pie. We're just selling it for $8, and we're doing two different kinds. So the first one's kind of a little bit more traditional breakfast. So bacon, eggs, cheese, potatoes, and a creme fraiche base, some cheddar, and then we call that the breakfast bay. And then we have our jam bam. The jam bam is like a little bit more, fancy. If you're feeling like a little more adventurous that day, then we have that with a creme fraiche base, mozzarella, prosciutto, a blueberry ricotta, and then some like fresh herbs on there. So yeah, a lot of people have been really digging that. But yeah, it's a small pizza. It's a little personal, but I think it's perfect because no one really wants like a whole pie in the morning, and they probably just want something to snack on. But yeah, it's been working really well, and I just do not do slices
Yeah.
because the ovens that I use the rock boxes, and it's just I've tried it before, and also the margins just don't make sense. So that's kind of like my little way of doing that. But yeah,
I
yeah, it's
like
been
that.
cool.
Getting around, I don't dig the slices model either. And personally, I do get hungry going into the farmers market, especially those early birds who are maybe rushing to get to the farmers market and they didn't have
Yes,
time for breakfast. And so needing something, just to kind of get me going. And I think it's a strategy for shoppers too, because if you go in there hungry and you don't eat, you end up buying more than you think. And so like
right.
getting a little snack in you is like it prevents you from doing all of that.
Yeah, yeah. And there's other hot food at the market. We're not the only ones that are selling hot food. There's a bagel stand that does bagel with like breakfast on there. There's like breakfast burritos that are being sold. So there's other options as well. But I think that a lot of people have been digging the pizza. They haven't had pizza at this farmers market for 10 years. So
Mm.
so yeah, so that's another reason why I think we're having a lot of success.
I mean, 14,000 people showing up and you got 100 dough balls. Do you think you're going to increase over the next coming weeks?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, yeah. This is like this area is called downtown Overland Park, and they have really kind of built up the area a lot. They have their own little vibe and stuff. And so the farmers market, I feel like, yeah, it's gonna like. I mean, we haven't even hit summer. We haven't hit the nice weather. Uh, Not to mention, last couple of weeks have been windy as hell, or weird, just like rain mix of cold. And actually, it's been that number. So that's the scary part. I'm like, all right, does this mean I'm going to be sitting here making 200 pizzas? I don't probably. Probably. I gotta
Sheesh.
find somewhere to store this stuff, because yeah, it's like you can bring as many coolers as you can, but my limitations right now are the vehicles that we're using like regular type
Cars.
car, yeah, and so that's kind of been a challenge, trying to find some solutions to that.
Mm.
Don't really want to lease a huge vehicle, but we might have to kind of shift and do that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough. Like for me personally, I am frugal. I can be a cheap ass sometimes.
Same.
And like I know there's money coming in, but I know that I need to invest in my business, but it's like could I use that money elsewhere? It's like I'm stuck. I'm stuck
Yes.
thinking like, should I reserve this money for? But there comes a point where you just got to bite the bullet and
Yes.
you gotta invest to grow.
Yes, exactly. Because, the limitations that I put on myself doing those 100 pies, when it could grow to, double that, it's like, come on. If you doing the math, then it's
Yeah.
gonna help you out.
Do you
Yeah.
find yourself selling out right at one, or do you? You said it ends
No,
at 1, right?
earlier. Yeah,
Early.
it ends at 1. So actually, like, okay, so this last Saturday we sold out around noon. So we still had about an hour to, kick some things
Mm,
out. And there were a few shoppers that came by, more than a few shoppers. They're like, "Come on, like bring
right.
more." And I'm like, "I'm bringing more every single time."
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to adjust. Because you don't want to bring overabundance and then be stuck with dough.
Hmm.
That's a fear of mine. I definitely don't want to be going home with uh extra dough to go home. It's just that's just a
Anything, extra
mess.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. It's just a mess. I rather have empty dough trays and not have so much stuff to lug around. So yeah, I'm gonna make some adjustments for sure. I'm learning through this. I mean, this is our very first season at this farmers market. We never actually been in a farmers market, so this is just very new. And I mean, but it's nice because you can go into it with an open mind and say, okay, like what do I need to adjust? Where do I need to adjust? What do I need to do? And then we'll kind of go from there. I mean, the summertime is apparently, yeah, going to be the craziest point. But we have a shady area. It'll hopefully be nice. We won't be sweating so much. But yeah,
Tight. Yeah, no, I like what you're doing. I like the whole adjusting thing and, testing it out little by little. That's the only way you're going to know is by showing up there and
yeah,
keeping track. And so congrats on getting up in that
I
farmer's market
appreciate it.
and selling out, right?
Yeah,
Good problem to have.
yeah, seriously.
So you mentioned the Gosney Rock Box, and I was reading up on you, and it seems like you started your pizza journey because you actually won a rock box.
Yes.
I'd like you to talk about that, but also maybe give us a little bit of back history.
So life before pizza, I was actually going to college to get a graphic design degree. I mean, I do have a graphic design degree by 2017. So I was doing design. I was trying to find that design job, and then I was working at a nonprofit doing design there, working for them. And then I was like, man, like design work uh, for a company is just not the same as like doing it for yourself or doing it for fun or having these fun projects. It was just a little bit too business oriented for me. I kind of figured like I was like this is just not really for me. I was trying to find some other design jobs. Things were just like with design just weren't really clicking. And so it was about 20. So we got back around 2018. Then 2019 rolls around, and that's when I entered that giveaway contest. It was on Instagram, Maddie Matheson and Gosney. I don't know if you know Maddie Matheson, but he's a Canadian chef, and he's fucking hilarious. But
Yes.
he was doing a collaboration with Gosney, so I entered. After that, I ended up getting a message like, "Hey, you won." I'm like, "Wait, hold on!" I'm like, "This isn't a scam." Like, I was just trying this out just to, just cause I was tagging all my friends. I was just being kind of a psycho about it. But I actually ended up winning a rock box, and so this was 2019 when that happened, and I was making my transition between design into the kitchen. I was like, like I really want to just like learn some fine dining techniques. I want to kind of build on that. I really, I love food. I've been working in restaurants since I was about 15. So then I was like, let me just like, at various different levels of restaurants too, like, to fast food, to pizzerias, to you know to then that was like my fine dining phase. So I went and actually got a job with a place called Webster House, and it was like well known in Kansas City for being a really high end fine dining establishment. So I was working there while I was working at the nonprofit doing design, while I was also working at this other corporate type of restaurant, Yard House. So I was doing a lot, had my hands in a lot, but I was just trying to soak up everything and learn everything. And all my friends were like, and my family, like, are you crazy? Like, what's going on with you? Why are you taking on all this stuff? But it was just like kind of necessary. Like, I needed that. And after that burnout, because it was like a full summer of me just working all those things, I kind of was like, okay, let me just go full time with Webster House. I was really kind of happy with how things were going there, and I had the rock box. I was just kind of doing things in my backyard, practicing with dough, and just kind of things for fun, nothing serious. And I was out of the pizzeria at that time, so it was like, I was just cooking really good food for asshole people, and I I just was like, let me kind of apply some of these things and like my ideas to this pizza, and I just kind of was playing around with things. We set up for like the Chiefs game, and we'd be in the backyard, and I'd be like, hey, like, have my friends like try all these things that I've like made. And I was like, at that point, like, I was thinking about this. I was like, I was making like homemade pickles and having them try it. It was like all types of random things. But people were like they were digging the pizza and stuff, and I was getting better at it. And because the dough, I'd never at the pizzeria, I'd never made dough. I had only, worked with it. I had watched this guy make it for years. He was the main like dough maker for like all their locations. They had like four locations, and so like I knew what I knew from watching him, but I didn't know how to actually like put things together and make it. And so that was some months and months and months of just obsessing on YouTube and you know deep diving, like so back let's back up a little bit. I was at Webster House, and then actually made a transition to another fine dining kitchen. It was at a bank. They had like an executive kitchen upstairs, and so I was working with an all woman team there, and that was like actually probably my best like chef job. It was literally like Monday through Friday. Like I only worked until like 3 p.m. It wasn't crazy hours like how Webster House or like Yard House was. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like too much, like I have no life, I don't see anyone. And so yeah, so that was like perfect. And then the pandemic hit, and I actually like ended up losing that job. And I was just like, what the heck? Like I just got this, and this is amazing. But yeah, I only worked there for like a few months before the pandemic hit, and then so I really just started working with the Rockbox a lot during that time. I mean, everyone was like kind of just stuck at home baking and doing all this stuff, and people running out of yeast and whatever products, flour and stuff. So I was just kind of on that boat too. But I think because I had already had like the confirmation from like my friends and family before, like yeah, like, this is pretty good. I was like, oh, like let me just like start doing pre-orders so I can like see you guys. So that was out of my backyard. So I just started having them pre-order. We had like a little system. Britt made a little spreadsheet, and then we were like putting the orders in there, put their name and like when their pickup time was, and then we just kind of started rolling out pies like that. And those were like the little backyard specials, I guess, that we called them. And then I actually, let's see, that was what, ooh, that was during the pandemic. I was volunteering at this other nonprofit. It was like a food access nonprofit called Canby's Markets, and I was volunteering while I was just doing the like pop ups, pre-order thing like on the side and stuff. And then they asked me to actually work there with them. So I was like, oh yeah, like, this would be great. So I was like helping them like pack up boxes for like with food for senior citizens or immune compromised people. And it was like, a really cool program that they had going on. So I was working with them, and I got connected to a lot of people. And so then I was doing the pre-orders, and they would like order a bunch of stuff too. A lot of my friends from there. And then I was actually like working for them, and I was like, like I actually want to go full time with like Devoured, because I'd been asked that was last year of April to be in a like larger pop up, and they were like, yeah, you get like you need a tent, you need to like get this and that like set up. And I was like, all right, cool. So then I got all that in about a week, and then we were in their like customer appreciation uh party that they were having. It was Compost Collective was the company that was doing it, and then we were there with the pizza, and then people were like thrilled. They were like, oh my gosh, what is this? I was doing that with one oven, and I think I sold like maybe like 30 pies that day, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And And then after that, we just started like collaborating with different businesses around the city, and like there's a Vietnamese coffee shop that we collaborate with a lot. They're called Cafe Cafe, and so Jackie from there, she like put me onto a lot of like different collaborations with other pop-ups. So we were just kind of like really just hit the wheel, and it just started going and going and going. But it really has only been a full year. This April would have been a full year of Devoured and like its constant flow of pop-ups, and really kind of getting to this level. But yeah, so it's been definitely a journey. That was like pretty much the pizza background and how everything came about. A lot of different, different things that happen. And I feel like, yeah, it was like pizza just kind of fell in my lap, and like it was like, oh, I was supposed to be doing this because now everything like makes sense. It's not so like difficult how like design was just like, oh, it just was not flowing. It just wasn't
Mm.
working, and I had to kind of take those signs and say, maybe I need to like pivot. But this kind of just fell in my lap, and I just started enjoying it and doing it more and more and more. So yeah, it's kind of a strange thing.
No, not strange at all. I mean, you said it fell on your lap. It kind of arrived at your door via shipment.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
There's so many things I kind of want to unpack there. I mean, first of all, congrats on leaving your graphic designer job. If it's not for you, um, get out.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that you made that shift to food. I guess what was the tipping point for you to just be like, this
Well,
this ain't gonna make it?
well, personally, I have noticed as I've gotten older that I've never, ever, ever really liked authority,
Mm,
and I
same.
don't really like to actually work for people at all. I didn't realize that for the longest time. I was always like working at jobs, and I was like a pretty consistent and like loyal employee, and I'd like show up to work on time and everything, but I was never afraid to be like, I'm going on a trip. I will be gone for 2 weeks. Or like, I would never be afraid of those things. Or me just wanting to make my own schedule or be on my own time is like this whole time I've like had the thoughts of like being an entrepreneur. Like I want to control my own money. I want to control my own path, and you know, I want to have control of my life. I don't want to have to tell you or email you every single time I have to go to the bathroom or go and do this. Like, I'm like, we got to have a meeting for something that could be an email. I don't know. It's just, things were like kind of
I feel that.
irritating. And it was like at every job I would feel that way. I was just like, this is, this is like killing me slowly but surely inside, and I didn't know what it was until I started you know, really just getting into a mind frame of like listening to other people that were going through that, or listening to a bunch of podcasts that people that own their own businesses, how they felt when they needed to get out of that life. And I was just like, wow, like I really am like a driven person. And anytime I was actually working somewhere, I knew that I was not going to be there forever. I was like, this is just temporary. This is something that yeah, I'm here, I'm building relationships. I like kind of enjoyed these certain things, but I knew that this is not me. This is not going to be me. Um, and and yeah, just having those thoughts like in your mind, like if there were, yeah, it was inevitable that I was going to end up, you know, owning my own thing and doing that. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, I just wanted to especially highlight that point because you went to school for it, for graphic
yeah.
design, and by looking at your Instagram page, it actually looks like you're really, really, really good at that too. And so I think it's fair to point out that like look out for the signs, but also it's like you're not totally giving up on it. You're clearly still implementing it into your business today.
Oh yeah, I would say that does because I enjoy design, I said that at the beginning, like I enjoyed designing for myself. That was the thing. Like I like designing for a client is totally different. It's a totally different ball game, and with the stipulations that you have to hold. But with me, I can just do whatever I see, whatever the vision is, I can just do that. with no creative, you know, just no one controlling that creative side of that. So yeah, I think that I mean I use design in my everyday life for sure. I do all the design for Devoured. I've done the logo. I did, do everything. I maybe did like one collaboration, like the Pizza Monster. I did not design. That was actually a really good friend of mine that made that. His name's Peter, and but like we did a kind of collaboration piece with that. But like I definitely think that like that vision and having like knowing what aesthetic you're trying to convey, that's that's something that yeah definitely came from my design side. And I always just feel like yeah I've been a creative. I've been like very artsy, not super involved in like sciencey stuff, but obviously I guess I'm a pizza maker, so I am kind of a scientist too,
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like just things come full circle. Things are in your life for a reason. It's not just to say, oh, like going to graphic design school was a dud. Like no, the reason why, like I mean, there's a lot of things that happened in my life from going there. I went to Spain. And then after graduating, I went to do the teaching program. I couldn't have done that without a degree. And then I use design in my everyday life all the time. And now it's like really just coexists with me being a chef. So it wasn't for nothing. Nothing's for nothing, honestly.
Welcome to the What's Good Dough podcast, and get ready to level up. But before we continue with the show, I want to introduce you to my two show sponsors, Uni Pizza Ovens and Coulter Olive Oil. Let's start with Uni. They are the #1 pizza oven company in the world with the best community there is. Because of their ovens, I have made some of the most amazing pizzas. From round pies to squares, I'm able to get to temperatures of up to 900 degrees, allowing me to cook the pizzas of my dreams. If you're looking to grow your pizza business, buying an Uni makes sense. My past guest Ryan of Sanctuary Pizza has a mobile catering company powered by Uni. These powerful ovens are efficient, lightweight, and can be used almost anywhere. Whether you take pizza seriously like me or want to run a pizza operation like Ryan, Uni is the choice for you. Use the link in the show notes and join the Uni community. My second show sponsor is Coulter Olive Oil. At first, I didn't believe that olive oil mattered. It wasn't until I got educated and learned about the difference between commodity oil and Coulter's fresh squeezed olive oil that I ditched the supermarket stuff. Today, I only use Coulter olive oil when it comes to making my dough and even doing a post-bake drizzle. I have even made some amazing pesto with it. Oh my goodness. Coulter's high-quality olive oil does really elevate anything it touches. My buddy Chris, who runs A Slice of New Jersey, just switched over to Coulter. Not only is he getting quality, but he ended up saving money by switching over too. If you're still unsure of the difference, pizza operators can sign up for a free olive oil tasting. Use the link in the show notes to learn more. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my show sponsors and supporting this show. I wanted to ask if you could, because you're so experienced in it, maybe you could give some value to our listeners today by giving a workflow or your framework or your maybe just your principles of design, something that someone can implement, just like high level, surface level kind of thing for people who want to get better at graphic designing for maybe their Instagram page or their pizza business.
Well, I honestly would say keep it simple and use your resources. I mean, like, yes, I'm a graphic designer, but um, I use my resources. I use Canva. Like a lot of people use Canva, and I'm not ashamed to use it because, sometimes you do need things that you need to post very quickly, or you need kind of I don't know, like you just need to get the information out, right? You need something organized to get the information out. But yeah, just really just keep it simple. I mean, like you don't need to do the most. You don't need all these different fonts and all this extra stuff. Like just keep it really simple. Look at other Instagrams that you find aesthetically pleasing and kind of like, look at their format, look at like how they're posting, how, What are they doing? Are they putting their logo on every single picture of their pizza? Or like, because you don't really need to do that, but there's some people that do that. But it's like, what's your intention, like, and who is your audience? I think those are just like the questions that you need to ask and understand through design. Like those are really like basic questions. Like, yeah, who's your audience, and like, and then who are you as a brand? What are you trying to convey? Because every like with communication in general, you want to keep it simple. People do not like to read. Like, how many people like write huge captions and things like that? Like sometimes it's like it gets lost because a lot of people don't like to read, or the post has too much stuff going on there. Just like, keep it simple, because people are sometimes lazy and they don't want to read, a bunch of stuff. They just want to see like the cool thing, or like something that like pops or whatever, or just like the information just written out right there. So yeah, just keep it tight and simple, and like, yeah, use things that like, I love looking on Pinterest for, different inspiration, and just kind of looking at things. And then I love, like, yeah, looking on Instagram, or even video, TikTok, or wherever, YouTube. YouTube is like the best thing in the world. Um, but you can just find tons of resources, um, and just look at like what you want your brand to aesthetically look like, and how you want it to feel. Like if someone were to go into your like brick and mortar, if you had one, what would it kind of feel like the Instagram, I guess? Like, would it look and kind of pair with that? Like, would you still have the same vibe, or would they walk into somewhere and it'd be like totally different? Like, this is not like, why does their Instagram look like that? And then their, place looks like this. Like, this is weird. But yeah, just kind of having like those connections, um, because it's not just about like the design. It's just like making things simple so that people, don't just skim your stuff, but also it makes sense to your brand. I guess that's the advice that I would give.
Okay. I like that because you just instantly brought me back to this pizzeria that I was stalking from Paris. And I was just there like couple weeks ago, but it was a little too far for me to
Oh
get to.
man,
But their their pizzeria is all pink inside.
nice.
It's crazy. And they got like pizza napolitana, like puffy crust, and like their Instagram kind of reflects that. Everything's kind of pink. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
And it got me thinking, like what you said, like your Instagram should reflect, what your business looks like. But so what if it doesn't right now? Do you archive all of your posts that don't fit that aesthetic that you're going for?
No.
Or do you start? Obviously, like there's no right or wrong answer to this, and this is just your
Yeah, yeah.
views on it. But what's your
I
opinion?
mean, like, honestly, because I guess, like, in reality, like, my Instagram may look a little bit different than, like, my tent setup is like, but I have all the branding there. I have the design, the Devoured sign, and all the things there. So, like, what I mean is just like having your signage look like, your logo, and you kind of like carrying over your brand. You don't want to have like, oh, like, let me have this like windy pizza sign that's red and green when my colors online are actually blue and yellow, and I'm going with a different aesthetic. Like, you want everything to like be identifying factors for your business. So like, not being all over the place with like the Canva graphics that you use like the same color palette that you're always using, because then people know, oh, wait, that's the pizzeria because it's the blue and yellow. It's not that yellow and red. It's, like, having that consistency. I think that's what carries over. Like, yes, maybe your pizzeria at your brick and mortar may actually like look a bit different than your Instagram, but like maybe having that same like color palette, or maybe having those same like brand identifying factors. I think that's what I mean when I mean carrying over. You want to make sure that people know who you are, and yeah, just make sure that you're doing clear branding so that they don't, like, they walk up, they know exactly like who to find, what you are, that kind of thing. But I'm working on that a lot, because a lot of people are still confused about Devoured, because we're a pop up, because we're not the traditional brick and mortar. We don't have a food truck just yet. We do, but we haven't built it out yet. So thank you. So yeah, so a lot of people are like, well, wait, where can we find you? Wait, where's your brick and mortar? That kind of thing. And we always constantly have to answer those questions. But it really is a great way of like forming awareness and then having them come back to the market and say, oh, okay, like I can find you here consistently. So we're trying to up our branding with that, make sure that people just know like what Devoured is. Maybe putting a little bit more signage, maybe putting a little bit more care into educating people on like what we do and who we are, that kind of thing.
Is your color palette right now pink and black?
It's pink, black, white, and then I have like a little bit of mint green that I throw in every once in a while. But
Little pop
yeah,
there.
so yeah, the main colors are just that devoured pink. I always call it the devoured pink. I don't know why, but it just makes sense.
No, that's cool. I
Um,
like that. No, I
but
like
yeah,
that.
that actually was a school project, and that was my senior project in 2017. And so I actually like kind of rebranded a little bit, but I still took that same concept. I created Devoured's Instagram because it was supposed to be a magazine that I developed. So I had created this concept when I was in school, and it was a magazine. It was called Devoured Mag, and I had all these like different features in there or whatever. And it was gonna be like a foodie mag, and then I was like, "Oh, this actually like works for like the pizza thing," and so that's where that kind of came from. But yeah, so it's been the pink
Cool.
since day one. I love the pink.
Nice. I like it. It pops, and I think of you and that other
Oh,
pizzeria
I
in
appreciate
Paris
that.
whenever I see that color. Yeah,
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 you have
yeah.
to tell me the name of that
Um,
one.
I'll shoot it over to you via DM. Is so your truck then? Since you already have this established palette, color palette, are you gonna make it pink and green, devoured pink and green?
I don't know because I really love the clean white with the pink on there, or like or black with the pink. I don't know. I've gone through like different design ideas on like how I would truck wrap it, but yeah, it's like I love the pink, but I'm like, but we could be doing so many different things, like different combinations. Maybe we'll have like, I don't know, the back be a certain thing and then the sides be something. I don't know. But that's a whole process. We're still raising funds for that. It's expensive to have trucks now. It is.
Yeah. How much you pay for your truck, if you
Yeah,
don't mind
so
me
I
asking?
paid for it empty, like it doesn't have anything, it's bare bones, old little truck, but it was about four or $5,000. So not
Okay.
terrible, but it's like the build out that is gonna be yes.
Costly.
That right there you have to put about 40% down to even start, and then it's about 50 to 60 thousand dollars. So, working towards it. But it's it's a lot.
When you say 40% down, are you talking about like you got to have that money in the bank and then get a loan for the
No, you
rest?
have to give that to the build out guy so that he can start. Yeah. Because
Oh,
like they have to like order certain products, they have to order things to like, fit your truck, they got to measure, they have to do all these things before they
sure.
even um you know get that money in their hands so that they can start ordering things to put in the truck. So, everything has to be up to code, and they have to,
I
get
feel it.
everything shipped in and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely a process. You have to kind of work backwards on a lot of things. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, why don't you just do the build out yourself and all.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Yeah,
addressed this.
it's a lot when you're thinking about doing
It is.
that by yourself, but also running the business and doing other things. It's just,
Let's talk about that for a little bit because that's so real. It's the struggle that I find myself in a lot. Like I have so many projects at home. I feel like sometimes I don't get anywhere because I'm always committing to this or that. And the biggest project that I have in my mind right now that I don't even know is possible anymore is I want to convert part of my backyard into a little mini cottage. Um, yeah, and it's like it's either for because we have a smaller house right now, so it could be for the kid, for family staying over, or my parents living here, or like to rent it out, whatever. And it's like I could pay X amount of dollars to get that all taken care of by one person, Or I can be my own general contractor and hire the people to dig up the site, to put up the framing, to get the drywall in and the electrical and the plumbing. And it's like, oh my goodness, that's hella time. And not only that, but it's like, what if I mess up? And then it ends up costing me more.
Exactly. You run that chance. Yeah, it's like with a food truck, you can't really mess with electrical like that. Like I'm not gonna just hire anyone to do that. I need an expert, And it's either you're gonna pay for an expert or you're gonna do it yourself and you're gonna mess it up. And so I don't know. It's like, yeah, you got to kind of choose your battles, and realize that, like, like, do you really want to be spending that time doing that? Like I've actually kind of thought of my food truck in different ways. Like, maybe like, is it something that I want to do? And I'm okay with questioning my journey, like wondering if this is like the right move for me. Because
Ooh,
I've been doing pop-ups for a long time, and they work really well. They're very unique. I really like the setup, but it is like very labor intensive where you have to set up, you have to break down, you have to, transport all these things. And a food truck would obviously
yeah,
eliminate a lot of those issues. But
time
yeah,
saver.
but I also, I'm like, well, what if I want the storefront? Because a storefront would be amazing to have, one location. You have, all your stuff there. You could maybe use the truck as a method of, catering or certain other things, or, go and do those pop-up events. But sometimes you can't do all that at once, like the reason why I started with pop-ups is because I didn't have the upfront capital to go and just go get a truck or go get a food cart or, go and get that brick and mortar. It was a stepping stone. So a lot of people don't realize that, like, that's why you see pop-ups growing more and more and more, because it's less risk. You're putting
Mm,
way less into that, than going to get that truck that might need maintenance, might, break down on you or have all these different issues, versus a canopy tent was that, like, oh, it might blow away and you might have to replace it, but or get some more.
that's happened to
Yeah.
me.
Me too. Or or you might have to get another extra sandbag and stuff like that, but like, it's like the risk is a little bit different. So I've been kind of evaluating, my business plan, and like wondering, like, what is the next move for Devoured, because there's a lot of different avenues you can go by. You could go by all, down all of these if you would like, but they're all going to take time and they're all going to take money. And so, like, it's for me, it's like organic, slow growth. You're just like, you'll get there when it's supposed to. And if I do have an opportunity to be in a spot that, is the rent's great, and we find a good location, that kind of thing, then heck yeah, I'm not going to say no to that. But I'm only going to do it if it's right for me and the business. It's not going to be like, I just don't want to rush into anything. And I think that a lot of people feel like they have to go and do those things so quickly. Um, like, and I did a fundraiser for my truck. It was back in February. We made, about $5,000, and it was great. It was an amazing turnout. Everyone came in to support, and I put that money away, and that's something that is going to go towards the truck eventually. But like, people don't understand. They'll come up to me and they're like, "Hey, like, when is the truck? Where's the truck?" And I'm like, do you realize that, like, we only raise like not even like 12% of what we need to put down just to get started. We like
I feel that.
$60,000. Like, I don't want to go get a loan for that. Like, I feel like that's something that I can reach, but am I going to reach that? Like, I would probably be able to reach that in a year or so. I don't want to go and ask a bank or go get those loans. I'm in the first year, so I can't go get a grant as well. So there's limitations to what I can do
Mm-hmm.
with that. So a lot of people don't realize that, when you're in a business for 1 year, people are looking at you like, well, you got to be 2 years old to go get that grant. And then after 2 years, then you can go and try to get those funds like that. I, right now, I just don't have that. I don't have that capital. So I'm working towards it. This is why we're like in the farmers market, higher volume, getting our name out there, spreading more brand awareness. but a lot of people just think that I can spring up with a truck, and I'm like, yo, we literally only raised five, like yes, 5,000 was a lot. It was a lot, and I'm grateful for that. I'm blessed, but like people don't realize that like 5,000 is a little nick compared to the 60,000 that I actually need, so it's
Right.
like educating the people that have donated to you as well. Like you don't want them to think that you're playing with their money, but also look, things don't spring up in a day. You really have to like work hard at this stuff. And I think like, and I'm very particular on the food truck that I want. I don't want just like this giant, huge food truck with the crazy generator and all these like different burners and all this stuff. I want something simple. So I want to build it out myself where it's, well, not myself, but you know what I mean. But
I feel that.
customize it myself where I know my needs are being met with my business. But yeah,
That's so important because, when we rush things or we make short term decisions, it impacts us long term, usually. And we don't want to mess that up for
exactly.
ourselves.
That's a really good way of saying that. Yes.
I mean, I've been reading a lot lately about just patience because I am an impatient person myself. And this reminds me of my conversation with Nicole Russell from Last Dragon Pizza. She said, people want it
Hmm.
fast, but then if you do, you're going to get it fast and not in a good way. And so I think it's important for everyone here to just remember
Yes.
patience. And another thing is that when you said doing it for 2 years, right? It's like people need to see that proof of concept. You need those 2 years of experience to be able to get grants, but also to get loans if you ever
Hmm.
choose to. Investors want to see time that you've been doing it, but also like as Scott Sandler was saying, who used to run, um, I can't remember his pizzeria, but he just sold it,
Oh,
Pizza
yeah,
Head
yeah.
in St. Louis. He said, like, you need 2 years of accounting, right? You can't just be doing it for 2 years and like have nothing to show for it. You got to be able to like
Right.
track your expenses and show you're profitable so that people can see like you're actually running a business here, not
Side
just like
gig.
this side gig underground thing. Like, where's the money coming in and out of, right? So, just important things to take into
Yeah,
consideration.
seriously. I think that everyone, they people just get excited. That's the thing. Like everyone's excited. They really want you to win, and like that's incredible. It's an incredible thing to have community around you that support you, and like I feel very fortunate that Devoured is just on its way up and up and up because everyone around me really supports me and supports Devoured, and they love the product, and so that's an incredible thing to feel, but it's also it's a lot to take on as a new business owner, a new entrepreneur. I've only been full time since last August. So this has been a complete 180 from my full time job life, doing this kind of on the side, and now I'm doing it full time. And so like just for people listening, you really have to be patient. And even though people around you are gonna like try to get you to, ooh, jump to this, do this, go into this opportunity, just like think about like where you want to be in the next few years, and think about like if that makes sense to you. Does it feel good? And do you feel like you're rushing? Do you feel like it's just like not right now, or it's not the right timing? Because I think that in my lifetime, like now is the time that I've really, really, really started buckling down on those things because like I care about what I want my life to be, and I don't want to hit that burnout, or I don't want to hit that moment where I'm like, oh man, I probably shouldn't have, like why did I go and get these investors to like invest in this thing, and I don't even really want to like mess with this, like no, like you're affecting more than just you in that point. You're affecting other people, and so you got to be careful. You got to just make sure that like you have your ducks in a row, like you you know what you want, and like if you have a vision, then don't compromise that vision you know
I love that. Usually I ask the whole like, what's one mistake people can avoid? And I think we've covered
oh
that.
yeah.
So thank you. That was beautiful. Hey, Pizza Pal. I just want to say thank you for listening to the show so far, and thank you for making it all the way here. Before we get on to the end of the show, I want to remind you all to please leave a rating on the podcast. You could do it right now. Just go ahead and click 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or Apple. It will greatly help the show. I appreciate you so much. And if you're looking to buy an uni or a second uni, the affiliate link helps the show so much. So please use that anytime you're considering a new oven. All right, enjoy the rest of the show. Okay, cool. So like you mentioned community on a number of levels, and I wanted to, and you know, one of the things that I asked you about before is like, about like where are your successes at? Maybe you can talk about how, you've built this community and network and how they've supported you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna compare my experiences from being in the design world versus being in the food world, for just a brief second. So when I was in the design world, I felt like it was a different type of cutthroat. It was just very hard to find people I connected with and like really understood like the visions that I had, and like in the art spaces. And I don't know if this is just for Kansas City or elsewhere, but I just did not feel well received, with a lot of my projects and things. Like people just really weren't understanding what I was, trying to convey. And then, in the food world, it was like the possibilities felt like more endless to me. And this is just on my perspective, not, I'm not speaking for anyone else. But yeah, I just felt like I felt a connection, and I don't know if it was because I was supposed to be in that realm, and that's why it felt really special to me. But it just like, not even in pizza, it was just in general, working with other chefs and connecting. It was just like a family. It just felt so good to be around people that were, they just love what they did, and they were okay with like, not doing any of the fancy stuff, not being extra. And you just didn't need a lot for things to happen with food. You maybe needed like a couple ingredients so you can make the most out of those things, and really appreciate what you did on that plate. So it just like kind of was like a humbling moment, just working around great people. There's a guy named, Alex George. He worked at Webster House, with me, and he was the sous chef there. And he was just like always like, I mean, like, dude was young as heck, but had like this old soul to him. Like he was just like always teaching me something. I'm just like, I mean, he was older than me, but only by a couple years. And I'm like, how are you just so like, how are you just so calm and like just willing to give yourself to like the food and the customer? And it just like always humbled me working around him. He was just very special, and always knew how to talk to people, always knew how to make the most beautiful dishes, and like think outside the box when creating those things. So I really enjoyed that time, with forming those communities, like within like the fine dining space, because chefs do have the rap of like being in the assholes. And there were some assholes. Like I not gonna not gonna sugarcoat that at all. And I might have been one of those people too. Like, like just like we're just all kind of like, like you keep leaving your sauce on my mise en place, and I'm like getting pissed off about it. Like, bro, move this shit out the way. But that was just us all being real, and I think that I really loved that everyone was very real, very just like, yeah, like it's a big family, that kind of feel. And so being a part of that community, and then now being a part of the pizza community, that like peels off another layer of, I went to the Pizza Expo. That's where I met you, this year. That was the first time I had ever gone. And it was just like, everyone just like embracing everyone. It's like the weirdos, the geeks, it's like kind of like being at a like high school reunion, but you actually like it. It's like it's like this is like everyone was maybe in a different like category. They're making different pizza. They're making like some traditional things, and everyone's like open minded to everyone's creativity. It's just like mind blowing. It's like being in a mesh of the art. Oh, I'm sorry, my dog or something. But being in the mesh of being in the art world, and being in the design world meshed together with pizza. Like it's like people geek out about pizza, and it's just one of those things where just everyone like has a love for it, and I think that like it shows with hanging out with people that are making the same things. It's it's just kind of just great. It's just good energy. Everyone's so positive. So um, I have found myself to feel like pretty good in this realm. Um, this space nowadays for sure. I feel good. But yeah, just talking about community though. Getting back to that. In Kansas City specifically, we have a really good job of like creating connections with each other. Like, so with like the pop up scene there, it's grown a lot. So there's like a lot of people that I know now. Like we call them like the pop up fam or whatever, and we all kind of would be like the same rosters of like pop ups, like at different events and things that we would host. And so, so like I named off like Cafe. There's like some businesses that host pop ups as well, like hot food vendors, but as well as that, maybe people that sell like tie dye, or maybe they sell vintage clothing. And so like we all kind of get together on those different levels, and we collaborate all the time. And it's great. I mean, like I literally have found like some of my like coolest greatest friends from these pop-ups. I just started doing this a year ago, and I feel like I've known these people forever. It's like, and then the people that come out, the people that actually are like spending their dollars and their time to come out to these pop-ups, it's really amazing to see. There's kids, there's all types of different ages. I mean, it's just insane. Like you would be surprised that like people are like online seeing that there's a pop up going on. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go head out and go and do this, and they're coming. It's amazing. So yeah, the community here, like it's definitely given me like some life. It's like because it's very fulfilling. It's like yeah, it's like you don't just do these things like for nothing. Like you do it because you want to either like spread that love. You want to share what you feel is great to other people, and I feel like doing that in Kansas City, like it really has shown me that no, like not everyone's like an asshole out here, and not everyone, is against you. There's people that support you. There's people that are like loyal to you, that like come back. They're regulars, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, and you're learning these people's names, and like you're starting to find out things about them, and they're like interesting people, and it's like, would this ever have happened if I wasn't doing these events? Probably not, so I think it's just important, like just as a business owner, just as an entrepreneur, to like really look at your community and like really build a relationship with people in the community. Like whether that's, connecting with a nonprofit and you guys doing an event together and doing a, collaboration, or that's just, your friend has a business and you guys do a little small pop up together, and like you guys collaborate and share each other's business to other people. It's like, having that those connections and having that love actually builds everybody up. It's not just about you, it's about everyone. And so it's like it's a beautiful thing when like you can share those things. It's like kind of a domino effect. It just like boom, 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 and it's like I find myself reposting and like reposting and posting. Like if we have a pop up event and somebody made a flyer, we're all just tumbling, putting that whole thing out there on Instagram, and people are like, "Dang, like yeah, I've seen this thing come across my timeline like 20 times." It's like yeah, because there's 20 different businesses that are on this roster, and we're all tagging each other, and we're all showing each other love. And then what happens after that is everybody comes out, everybody like comes to the events. They're happy with the events because it's something that they've never done before, something that they've never seen, and it's amazing. And then you connect with more people. It's like word of mouth. So yeah, community is, I'm telling you, it's number one. Like people don't realize that it is number one. You have to get tapped in with the people that you sell to, the people that you work with. I mean, like it is crucial for you to be out there and just be involved, because Because really, like, what's the point? You just have a business, and then people just are expected to come give you money and do whatever. Like, no, it's not about that. It's about more than your business. It's about everyone in this space in the neighborhood to come together.
You get so many benefits out of it because, as you were saying earlier, it's like you didn't feel welcomed, or like you didn't feel like it
Hmm.
was for you. And so, like, when you were doing graphic design work for a nonprofit and your art wasn't being received and it doesn't feel good. So it's like you don't feel that motivation to
Right.
continue doing it, right? And when you're around people who love what they're doing and it just fits, you do your best work, or at least I
Yeah.
feel like I do. And you become that best version of yourself. But also, like, when you're tapping in with these other people, it's like you're not only making these friendships and connections, but it does have a business, like, net positive to it, is that you get to be referred out. You get to meet your next potential client. You get a homie who will reshare your stuff. And so it's really just important to highlight, like, take the extra time to build that community because it is such a important aspect of business, as you
Yeah, yeah,
mentioned.
and also you just learn a lot. You learn through like working with each other as
Mm.
well because
Ooh, yeah.
like I mentioned this girl, so Jackie Wynn from Cafe, she's really built up her business a lot. She actually is not from Kansas City, but she moved from she was working out in New York. She's from San Diego and she's now in KC, and so she built this Vietnamese coffee shop here. She was doing pop-ups and things, and now she's working on her brick and mortar. But she has brought all of us together so much. Like a lot of us pop ups that like maybe other maybe other vendors were like having large vendor fees. Like, oh, we had to pay $150 to be in this event, and she wasn't doing that. She was like letting us work there for free, set up your stuff, sell your things, and just be connected. And let's just make this jumping event and have it go smooth. And if it doesn't go smooth in some parts, we'll smooth it out or whatever. But she was like working her ass off to like really connect everybody. And it's like she's not even from here. Like it's like what kind of mad person, like it's but it's crazy because everybody embraced her. Everyone respects her for those things that she's done. She's done a lot for the Asian community. She's done a lot for just speaking on behalf of like other communities, and it's incredible to see. Um, but so I learned a lot from her. Working alongside her, connecting with her, and like outside of the pop-ups I'd ask her a ton of questions. I would just I would get on her nerves. And like she loves me, I love her, but I'd be like, ask her like, hey, I'm like, who do you use for an accountant? Who do you like, what do you do for this? Do you use QuickBooks? Do you use this? And so she was like,
Yeah.
she's like, yes, no, yes, and she'd send me names, and she'd be like, hey, use this person, use my accountant if you'd like, check her out. And so it's like you never know, like you when you put yourself in that position of getting to know others, being in that community, there's nothing bad that can come out of that. Like there's always going to be someone that can connect you to the things that you need. And so like that's why I feel like you can thrive off of that. When I don't know if it probably feels different for people that are in larger cities. I know a lot of people that live in New York, they might feel like, you know, a little bit disconnected to certain things because it's just so big. But I'm like, you might be in your borough, you might be, in Brooklyn or something. Like you can find a community anywhere. Like you can find a neighborhood anywhere,
Yeah.
and you can connect with anyone. So like, don't feel like it has to be a small city to do that. But I really do feel fortunate. And I feel like Kansas City is probably the only place that we rep. We literally wear Kansas City t-shirts in Kansas City. It's like it's like we're weird. I don't know. Like why would you do that? It's like we're tourists of our
No.
own of our own city.
No,
Oh,
San
okay,
Jose does
cool,
that.
cool, cool, cool. But sometimes it feels like we are we're kind of small, and like people are starting to get to know us from the Chiefs and like, the Royals winning and that kind of thing. But like people are still kind of like, wait, is it a farm? Is it, that kind of thing? So I think that we have a lot to offer, and yeah, and we've really, I think in the city we've done a good job of like really trying to tap each other in and try to, hey, like pass this off to somebody else. And so I really do think it's incredible to have that around you. And I mean, if honestly, if I didn't have any of that, if people weren't, willing to support me or weren't willing to like be my friend and give me words of wisdom on this, or hey, like my friend wants pizza for their birthday party, that kind of thing, Devour would not be like it is now at all. Like I'd probably still be in this backyard doing that spreadsheet and not getting out there. But
Mm,
because I was anchoring myself, I was getting around people that knew other people that were interested and talking and, just having a conversation. You don't even need to say a lot. You can just say, hey, how's it going? What do you do? And just go from there. And that conversation can lead you to a lot of different things. So yeah, community is big.
what do you want to leave the audience with today?
I would leave the audience with, just be yourself, be true to yourself, and in your journey, just, honestly, follow the signs, connect yourself with good people, and, really find a community that you love to be a part of and love on each other, like make sure that everyone is being, lifted up in that. So,
Love it. Jai, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you.
yeah, thank you.
All right. I know you got to run, so have a good rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Jai, thank you so much for being on the show. I learned a lot from you, and I had a great time talking to you. I resonate with a lot of the things you said, and I'm so glad I just had this opportunity to chat with you. I can't wait to see your pizza journey continue. To you, the listener, seriously, wasn't that an amazing episode? Please do me a favor and find Jai on Instagram at Devoured Popup. Link to that will be in the show notes. Go ahead and send her a DM and let her know what's good dough. Also, I need your help. If you know someone who would benefit from listening to this podcast, please go ahead and share it. You can share it directly to that individual by copying the link and sharing it over, or you can share it to your social media page by clicking share somewhere on the screen that you're listening to, and it'll post straight to your Instagram stories. I appreciate you for listening. I love you. Till next time. Peace.